Hi, I'm Edward Wood. I'm Managing Director of Wood Brewery. We're based in the South Shropshire Hills and have been brewing here since 1980. At Wood Brewery we produce a range of beers, both bottled and in draft. Our main selling lines would be Shropshire Lad, Parish Bitter and Shropshire Lass, and these are available both in bottle and on draft. In addition to this, we produce a range of beers, both seasonal and for special occasions. We've also produced over the years a variety of beers to do with Shropshire, its heroes and its legends. Our beers and the brewery have won many awards over the years, both for the quality of the beers and also the standard of our business practices and our fundraising activities. We produced a special beer for Midland Air Ambulance. We raised over £15,000 towards the Air Ambulance with 2 different beers, and also a fundraising Land's End to John the Groat's cycle ride that I undertook. At Wood Brewery we can brew up to 100 barrels a week. That would be 5 brews in a week, which is our maximum capacity. The brewing cycle starts with the introduction of malted barley through a mill to meet hot brewing liquor at the entrance to the mash tun. In effect, we are extracting sugars from the malted barley in this process, and the liquid that we end up with is called wort. Our head brewer, Paul Benson, oversees the day-to-day running of the brewery.
Then once the mash done, once they start doing the mill and the crushed barley comes through, then we check the temperature, and as long as it's around about 64 to 65 degrees, it should end up with a 64 or thereabouts in the bottom at the end of the mash. This is the mill area. The bags you can see are pearl barley, which is a pale barley. That's the main carrier for all the brews we do. Normally somewhere between half a ton or thereabouts of it. The bags you saw me over here with are the other ingredients which we use. Today we're doing purple haze, therefore I'm using amber malt, so many kilos, and torrefied wheat. That's why when I'm putting it in, I'll be putting only a bit of this in each time. What we're trying to do is blend it all the way through. Okay, now we've finished putting all the weighed out grain in for this brew. We now have to wait for it to run out, and once it's run out, then we start to the process further downstairs. Now we've finished doing the movement round and filtering the wort. We're now filling up again the underback so that we can now transfer it into the copper, which I'm going to start doing now. I'm going to take a sample now so I can check on the beginning gravity of the extraction. We're now upstairs, and the extraction which we saw downstairs is now being pumped up through into the copper. The copper is being filled up with the extraction, and once it gets to a level above the copper rings, we can then put the steam on, start boiling. Well, this is the first inclusion of hops. What we tend to do is put some in at the start of the boil, and we put some in 3/4 of an hour into the boil. The inclusion of hops gives the flavour and smell to the beer. After the first lot of hops have been put in, it's now time to come down and turn the steam on so I can start the boiling process. Now the copper's boiling and it's on circulation to help the boil. I'm now getting the second lot of hops ready to go in about 3/4 of an hour. So that's what I'm doing at the present moment. The boil is actually on for an hour and a half altogether. After the boil has finished in the copper, we then transfer the wort through a heat exchanger where we cool the wort down, and it is then put into the fermentation vessel that we will be using that day. In the fermentation vessel we will add the yeast.
The yeast that we use here has been recycled, repitched many hundreds of times. So we like to keep the same strain of yeast going here, as we can impart the same characteristics to our beer. The yeast acts by feeding on the sugars in the wort and converting them to alcohol and carbon dioxide.
Right, we're at the end of the process now. We've put the yeast in, which you've seen, and now just leave it now till it starts to ferment. We should see some results within the next 48 hours of how it's doing.
The whole process of fermentation takes 2 to 3 days. After fermentation, the beer is transferred to conditioning tanks. From here, the beer is then transferred to casks, which we have already steam cleaned. Nick Phillips now explains the cask filling process.
This is what we call the CT room, which is the conditioning tanks, where the conditioning tanks are kept. Once the beer's been fermented out, transferred into here to settle out for 24 hours, then it's ready to dispense into the barrels. So what I'm going to do now is connect the pipe and then start racking the beer. Okay, and that's ready to go now. Right, this is the racking room. I've just connected the pipe to the CT, which has got Shropshire lad in. So basically I'm going to do the racking now, which is basically filling the 18s and the containers for ready for distribution and customers for tomorrow. Okay, I'm just adding the hot pellets to that 18. I've done the rest. Those are just designed to add an aroma to the beer basically. We put those in Shropshire lad and some of our other products.
Thank you for taking this short tour of Wood Brewery, and we hope that you will enjoy drinking Wood's beers for many years to come.